call the June meeting of the St. John's Neighborhood Association to order at 7:06 p.m. We still have folks filing in here and adding on, so we're going to ease into this and start with the most exciting part, which is approving the meeting minutes. But before that, just a little bit of housekeeping, introductions, all that good stuff. I see a lot of familiar faces, so thanks for coming back. Some new faces, thanks for being here. So the St. John's Neighborhood Association is here. It's a very broad remit in our bylaws, but I like to give it a quick read every time we do it. But basically, we're organized to enhance the livability of the area. So consider and act on issues that affect the livability and quality of the neighborhood, provide an open process where people may involve themselves in the affairs of the neighborhood, take positions on matters of civic interest, inform residents of events or plans affecting the neighborhood, and establish and maintain open lines of communication with other organizations such as district coalitions, neighborhood associations, the city, the county, regional, and state government agencies. And hopefully hearing that and then seeing the meeting tonight, you see the alignment there. In a little bit, we will have a representative from Multnomah County Library speaking about the plans for when the St. John's Library is closed for renovation. I'll be able to ask questions and offer feedback on those plans. So if you, and that's why when you signed in person here, for anybody on Zoom, if you live in St. John's or Cathedral Park, if you own a business or own property in St. John's, work at a nonprofit that does a significant amount of work in the neighborhood, you are a member, you can participate and you can even vote this evening. There's no, you must have attended 3 meetings in the past to participate in those types of rules. It's very open and accessible. So please don't be shy and feel free to participate. And for anybody on Zoom, where English might be your second language, we have live translated captions where you can enable at the bottom of the screen and pick the language of your choice that you wish the meeting to be translated into. And if you know anybody that would be useful for, please let them know. And the final housekeeping is there's always further ways to get involved. There's board positions open, there are committee positions open, and we can basically a committee position is a little bit less of involvement than a board position, but you're getting a little bit more involved than just coming to the meeting, if that makes sense. It's a nice middle ground. But please come up and chat with us or drop in the chat if you're on Zoom, if you have any interest in learning more, or you have some area of interest that you really want to help out with, like litter cleanups in the neighborhood or things like that. So with that, we will take just a couple of minutes to do the housekeeping, which in this is approving the general meeting minutes from May. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We'll bring it up. We'll do the quick Star Wars scroll through, and please shout out any sort of issues or changes that might be needed with those minutes. Did you have? We are at a we're at the 200%. So we were at James John for the last meeting. All right, strike from the record. Great, thank you. And I can't see the Zoom, so if you wouldn't mind keeping an eye on if anybody shouts anything out there. And the members virtually present section, this brings up an important point, which is if you're on Zoom, if you could update your name to accurately reflect your first and last name for these minutes and for our record moving forward, that would be wonderful. Paul will thank you. Yes, Paul. Or yes, you can write it into the chat, and that record we'll have a hold of that record, be able to add it. Stoyan? Oh, great. Thank you. Dean.
B and Morrison, I don't know
It's just a net. Okay. Take it out. There could have been somebody with just the first name Kathy and then somebody that was Kathy Howard. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the importance of having the first and last name in there um, for future ones. So anybody on Zoom, if you're willing to provide that information, please uh, update your name or leave it in the chat during this meeting. Anything from Zoom on the chat? I see. Just a few names coming in. Okay. I think that's for today's. Okay. Great. So we had ODOT, a representative from ODOT on Zoom that came to speak about some of the projects on Route 30, the St. John's Bridge. There were some good questions from our members and some answers that Ellen was going to seek. A little bit of an update on that front. There was some email correspondence, there was some follow-up, there's still not 100% clarity. So when they first reached out about the mesh rockfall project on Northwest Bridge Ave, it was said that they finished early, came in under budget, and were able to pave the road as a result. And then I had numerous neighbors talk and share that there was a section without mesh there, and why was there no mesh? And so when I asked that question, the answer was that they ran out of budget. So now I'm waiting to understand how they ran out of budget, but then had extra budget to pave the road. So that we're awaiting further answers on that one, but and on the St. John's Bridge front, there was the concrete project, and essentially the answer is they're going to complete the amount of work they can complete on this project with the budget in hand, and then hope that the repairs of the rest of the concrete supports of the bridge can fit into a future project budget. So it is work, it will be stopping, I guess, and they won't be finishing all of the pillars of the bridge until they can hopefully get another project to fund that, the finishing of that repair. So they said that the steel underneath the concrete was in good shape, and they're encouraged by that. We'll see if it still is after a while of water getting in through the cracks in the concrete. But hey, so we'll continue to try to get answers from ODOT on that. And sorry to slow down this minute approval process, but wanted to provide the updates I did receive at least. There was a question in the chat. Yeah. My guess is they would say budget at that one too. So maybe it was a case where they had X dollars left, they couldn't afford the mesh, but they could afford to pave a little section of it, and so they did that. I don't know. So yeah, we are still going to be asking questions of ODOT and continuing to update you all. Yeah. There was the Representative Zeph Wagner from PBOT came to the meeting. There's more on this later. So there's some updates from various meetings that have happened and things like that. I know Donna Cohen's on Zoom, so at the community portion of this, she'll provide the next sort of update on this front around our emergency routes and the bridges over the railroad cut that will fail either when the big earthquake hits or even something smaller, as Zeph let us know at our last meeting. Paul, the St. John Center for Opportunity update. Do I need to maybe refresh this page? It still has Nikki without a last name on my screen. Is there a last name in what you have there? Okay. We will.
Well, is it under the guest list? Because if they logged in, they were on Zoom, right?
Yes, yeah, Nikki was on Zoom. I'll continue scrolling if y'all could look into that and we'll come back to it to adjust that. The board update section, just to follow up again on what was shared last time, I reached out to Commissioner Rubio's office for if there was any update on the bottle drop front. I did not receive a response, so I guess there is no update. It seems that nothing's moving forward. They're still looking for a place that's not the old Dollar Tree, but they don't have one. So no movement on that front still, as far as we're in the know of. Thank you. Yeah. That's, yeah, Duncan's gonna check the position that Nikki took over there for it. But I would like to get these approved and moved on, so. Program and outreach coordinator. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the May general meeting minutes? Jesse motions. Is there a second? I'll second. Patrick seconds. What we're going to do is raise your hand in the room or on Zoom if you are opposed to approving these minutes. Otherwise, we will pass them unanimously. So only raise your hand if you are opposed to the approval of the minutes. No hands raised in the room. Are there any raised on Zoom? Great. Okay. The minutes passed unanimously. They are approved. Thanks, folks. That's the hopefully the most boring part of this meeting. So what we will move on to next is our first guest. So I feel kind of like Jimmy Kimmel or something by saying that. Our first guest. What a weird. Anyway, so we have Annie Lewis here, who's the interim director of libraries at Multnomah County Library, who will be able to speak to the plans for when the library is closed for renovation and listen and receive questions and your feedback. So Annie, if you can come on up. Or so don't trip and fall. Yeah, please. Okay, great. Yeah, we can have her sit here. There. We can get. Yeah, of course.
Me too. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here with you all this evening. My name is Annie Lewis. I'm the interim director of libraries, and I use she and her pronouns. RJ invited me this evening to be here with you all to share an update on the planning that is underway to serve the St. John's community during the closure of the St. John's Library. I wanted to start by just making sure everyone is aware of the project that's occurring and what's happening to enhance the St. John's Library. I'll just give a very brief overview of that construction work that's planned to happen later this summer. And then I'll spend most of the time sharing information about the services we're planning to provide during that closure period and invite questions that you all may have about that, as well as any input you would like to share. So in 2020, the Multnomah County voters passed a capital bond, which is funding the renovation and expansion of many new libraries across our county. And one of those libraries is St. John's. St. John's is undergoing a renovation to be expanded. It will be a 2,900 square foot addition to the existing building, in addition to enhancements of the current facility. So there's some exciting changes coming to the library. The new space will include a teen space. It will include new for teenagers. Dedicated teen space. It will have more meeting room space for community meetings and community use of those meeting room spaces, as well as library events. It will have also upgraded technology and internet as well, high-speed internet. All new furniture, paint, design, and a refreshed building. It'll be a beautiful building when it opens. And the construction is set to begin later this summer. We don't have a closure date set yet. And so once that's determined, we will announce that on our library website, in addition to sending out information in our library newsletter. And the construction period is expected to last about a year and a half, a little less than a year and a half. So it'll close later this summer, and it will open again in winter 2025-26, which we're splitting that across December, January. Given the uncertainties of construction timelines, we identify a season of closure or opening dates. So that's the details. You can follow the progress of the design and construction for the St. John's Library on our library website. If you wouldn't mind pulling that up, RJ, that would be great. It's multcolib.org, and there's a page on that website called Building Libraries Together. If you scroll down to the bottom of the page, that green banner, up just a little bit more, building, yeah. And if you scroll down, the St. John's Library has a featured page, where you can, under the renovated and expanded and St. John's Library, where you can read about the features of the space. And that page is updated regularly, so you can have information about the latest. We've been doing community engagement to inform the design, and we have, I think most recently done a community vote on the color scheme in the building. So I don't know if any of you voted, but we've gone with a forest park theme that will have cool blue tones and green tones in the building. But you can read more about the details of the design on that webpage. So I'll share a bit about what we're planning for during the closure period, and say that in the formation of the bond, a decision was made at that time to invest all of the funding from the bond into new spaces. And so that meant that they made a decision not to spend capital bond funding on opening temporary facilities. Since that time, we have made some strategic decisions to open some temporary facilities across the county during building closures. Those include a temporary building that went up in the central downtown area to serve the primarily people experiencing homelessness that needed technology access in the downtown area. As well as we had an opportunity to partner with the University of Oregon University of Oregon at the former Concordia campus to open up a very small temporary library to serve the North Portland and Albina communities during the closure of those buildings. In other areas that have experienced closures, we've done intentional and increased outreach in those areas. And that's our current plan for the St. John's community. And so our community engagement team right now is making those plans for serving particular sites throughout the St. John's community. And I'll share a little bit of detail about what that looks like. So we have what we call an opportunity map that we utilize that pulls together, it's a county tool that pulls together GIS data, or it's a GIS tool that pulls together census data, school district data, and other demographic data that helps us identify communities that are experiencing marginalization. And so we've used that map to identify particular neighborhoods in the St. John's area that could benefit from specific outreach services during the building closure. And so we're beginning that work during this summer to engage before the closure, but also to develop outreach services during the closure as well. So we've reached out, we're in the process of reaching out to particular housing communities, including Ridgecrest, Parkside Commons, Cathedral Gardens, The Woods, Pier Park Apartments, and Bristol Court Apartments. In addition to that, we're working with Portland Parks and Rec to provide services during the summer lunch play program that occurs in St. John's Park. So we'll be providing on-site services there. That includes like distribution of books. We have a lot of books that we give away that are funded by our library foundation. So those are new, high-quality, culturally specific, language-specific books. And then we also provide a service called Books to You, where we promote the books for children that receive the summer lunch. And that's another opportunity for us to hear from community members about what they'd like to see throughout the year. In addition to that, we're really interested in connecting with community members like you and others to hear more about, to raise awareness about services that we provide. So we will be increasing awareness around our Books by Mail program. We have books that are mailed to people who are homebound and or experience other mobility issues that make it so they may not be able to travel outside of their home into a library. We'll also be doing further promotion of our digital equity resources, including loaning out laptops, as well as promotion of our e-content resources, so promoting our free apps that provide access to ebooks and digital content. We also will be doing focused outreach for our summer reading program this summer to again engage, but planning that and to inform the further outreach during the school year. So these are just some of the ways that we're planning to do some targeted intentional outreach coming up, and we'll continue to develop those plans as we hear from community members and provide our also ongoing regular outreach services as well. Two more services I want to highlight. One is that we have a mobile tech van. It's like a mid-sized van that has Wi-Fi able to provide, and it can go on site to various sites to provide. We have a staff member who does like digital outreach education, so provides classes out in the community, and then that van actually also carries laptops so that they can provide the Wi-Fi access and laptop access through that van. So we'd be very interested in identifying sites where we could, for example, bring that van, park it, provide the computer access, Wi-Fi access that's important for the community. We also have a mobile library that is a very large vehicle. So we would be identifying outreach sites for special visits with the mobile outreach van, the mobile library. So again, we're in the stages of development for this, but I just wanted to provide you some of the details about what we're working on so far, and I would love to hear any kind of comments or input or questions that you have about our services that we're planning so far.
Sorry, Nellie, we're gonna have the questions at the microphone so that everybody on Zoom could hear them. No.
I'm also hard to hear, so
All right, I'll just repeat it for people on Zoom before yeah.
I was wondering if you could have a little bit more education about what a Carnegie Library is, because that's one of the most amazing American inventions. And I ran into employees at the library who didn't know it was a Carnegie Library.
So the question was about basically including in the education and outreach the information and history about it being a Carnegie Library.
Absolutely. We would be happy to provide more information about it. And you mean through our outreach to help educate people on what the Carnegie Library is and the investment that Carnegie made in terms of.
One time we were crossing the country and
Yeah?
we did some research. I found one book by a university professor, and we went to each Carnegie Library we could find in the Boondocks, because they are in small places. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was an incredible investment that Carnegie Mellon made across the United States to establish libraries in many different small towns and cities across our country. It's absolutely incredible. And yeah. Right. You know, and I think that's something I can absolutely bring back, especially because we will be maintaining the historical integrity of the Carnegie Library in this renovation. So the designers will work hard to ensure that the new addition has a flow and continuity with the historic portion of the building, but also maintaining and ensuring the the historic preservation is happening too with that building. So.
So if you have any questions, comments, concerns in the room, we'll have you up at the microphone there. And then on Zoom, if you'd like to ask anything or provide any feedback, anything like that, raise your hand and we'll alternate between the two. So we will start in the room here. Go ahead.
Oh, it's going down, going down.
If you could state your name before providing.
Okay, my name is Colleen Nelson, and I live next door to the library. And I was wondering what happens to, I might have missed this because you went through things pretty fast. What happens to the collection during the renovation? Did you talk about that?
Yeah, I didn't, but I'm happy to talk about it.
Okay, and then I have a number two, so you
Sure.
can start with that.
Yeah. So the collection will be first analyzed for condition and for currency. So we'll deselect some of the materials to be sent to our friends of the library for them to sell the materials in support of the library. Other materials that are in good condition that can be utilized will be sent in the interim to our central sorting facility. We have storage at that building. We're also leasing a space during all of the construction period and closures of these buildings. On Macadam Avenue, there's a storage facility. Some of the collection will go there. One aspect of the bond program is it includes a funding for what we call opening day collections. So St. John's will open with a brand new library collection that will be brand new. So, which is pretty exciting. But we also will work to integrate other materials that are current, that are relevant and current that can remain in the collection.
Okay. So basically, we won't have access to the collection. It'll be in storage, is what I'm hearing.
That is correct. So
Okay.
yes, that is a key impact of the closure period, that the collection will not be available.
Okay.
But you'll be able to access the collection through the physical print collection through the nearby locations. So for closest would be Kenton Library for the St. John's neighborhood, for the most part, depending on where you're at in St. John's. So holds would be available there in addition to, of course, our digital materials.
Okay. So I'm accustomed to putting a book on hold, waiting for it to come in. So now I will have to go to the Kenton Library, but it will be available there.
That's correct.
Okay, that's what I wondered, how that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You have a question on Zoom, and then we could. If anybody else wants to weigh in. Yeah. So Becky can, or sorry.
Oh, Becky? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Becky on Zoom, if you have a question, please go ahead.
I'm talking. Can you hear me?
Becky's speaking, but the audio is not coming through.
Yeah, Becky, I can hear you, but I'm on Zoom. It might be a thing.
Yeah, I don't think they can hear in the room.
I don't think they can. All right. Alert, alert.
Yeah, we can hear you, Becky.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So longtime St. John's resident, former neighborhood association board member. Can you hear me? Because I'm seeing blank looks.
Yes, we can hear you. It's a little low. We're trying to adjust this here.
You're confirming that you can hear me? I can't hear you now. Very well.
I can hear you, Becky.
Okay, great. Sorry, technology, isn't it fun?
Right.
Longtime St. John's resident, former board member on the neighborhood association. I'm just concerned. I love the library. I vote for all the money for the library. I think it's wonderful. I have elementary school age kids who go to James John. The convenience of the library and ability to pick up books there. I'm just really disappointed that there's not going to be an option other than driving to another neighborhood to pick up holds. I think we sort of saw with the pandemic that if kids are not getting the right habits started, there's really no replacement for that. And for a year and a half, that's just a huge problem. I'd really like to see a plan where even if it was just once every couple weeks, people could pick stuff up in the neighborhood that they put on hold. I know for my own kids, having electronic materials is okay sometimes, but they don't need more screen time. There's just no replacement for easy accessibility of paper books, and it's really hard for families to take the time to make a special trip somewhere else to make that happen.
Thank you for sharing that, Becky. And absolutely, I hear you. And I appreciate the fact that you've been a library supporter and a library user, and that your kids also utilize the library. And so I think with the holds, one of the, so I want to be direct, that our current plan, right, is to be able to add additional support at Kenton Library, where we anticipate increased holds because of the closure of St. John's. As far as school outreach, we also will be focusing our school outreach services in the St. John's area. So we have two teams. We have a school core team as well as a Books to You team that provides direct outreach within schools to be able to provide reading support and books and materials for children. I recognize that's not going to replace what you currently have, right? So I don't want to downplay that. I think that in terms of the holds pickup, the challenges in staffing a temporary facility or a location where we could provide that service. One of the aspects of this bond program is that we are expanding a number of libraries, which means that we're going to have to shift our staffing resources over the next couple of years. And that's an ongoing process that we're working on right now. We'll be presenting a staffing plan to the Board of County Commissioners in the fall. And we anticipate reallocating some staffing resources to increase staffing, particularly at the libraries that are expanding. What that means, and I'll get to my point, what that means is in the interim period, we will be depending on staff from closed locations to help transition into other locations that are expanding to provide those staffing services while we go through this big transition period. So during the next year, North Portland Library will open up and Albina Library will open up. Albina will be over twice the size, well, actually, I think 3 times the size of the current facility. So we will need more staffing resources there. So while we go through this full staffing plan over the next couple of years, we will be depending on some of the staff from closed locations to help staff nearby locations and/or expanded locations, which strains our ability to maintain open access at a temporary facility throughout that time period. I did hear your comment though, Becky, about like, what if it was every couple of weeks, right? What if there was a more limited holds pickup service? So it's certainly something I can bring back to our team to talk about what possibility there might be outside of like a full temporary facility that we staff, right, 7 days a week. Happy to bring that back to the team to discuss.
And Becky, you can go ahead with one quick follow-up, but and
Okay.
then we have 60 seconds and we've got to move on to the next question.
Great. I just, I appreciate that answer. I hope that something can be figured out. I just want you to understand, and I'm sure any longtime resident of St. John's can tell you that we really feel under-resourced here and that we are a very forgotten and neglected area of town. And so we're ready to break out of that role and have people really pay attention to what our needs are in the future.
Thank you for sharing that, Becky.
Thank you very much, Becky. And so we'll go ahead in the room here to Jenny.
Hi, Jenny Brown. I work here at George Middle School. If anybody has any questions or comments or suggestions about George Middle School, I'm here. So first I want to say to what you just said to Becky, you said you're going to support more in schools, and you said that after PPS cut libraries to half-time positions in schools, so that might make your job in that respect a little harder. But also the reason I walked up here was if I have St. John's Library listed as my home library on the website and I get my holds at St. John's Library, do I need to manually go in and switch it to Kenton or some other branch I want, or is that going to happen automatically?
It will default to, I do not want to give you wrong information. What I can do, RJ, is I can send you the info so you could send it out. Does that work to the membership? Because I want to make sure, because I'm not directly connected with that process. But my understanding, because I'm a Albina patron, and so I think it defaulted to Hollywood, if I remember correctly. So I believe it's an automatic process, but I want to just 100% confirm that for you, and I'll get that info to RJ.
So my concern, whatever your answer was, is some people would struggle to go in and find the place to change the thing. Also, some people would, after it defaulted, they wouldn't necessarily know they need to go to Kenton. So I don't know how to fix that, but
I think that, so if you put a book on hold, when you get your notice, it tells you where to pick it up from. So it would be in that notice that after they put that book on hold. Additionally, if they're putting the book on hold, either through a library staff member and or on our website, it will only provide that option. It won't provide the option of a closed location. So it should, that part of it should be just fine. And I agree, I think that I'm like 99.9% positive it defaults to the nearby location. I just, like I said, I don't want to give you wrong information, and I'll follow up.
thank you.
Any questions on Zoom? We'll give you a second to raise your hand if so, otherwise we'll go to one in the room.
My name is Kevin McKay, and I live in Cathedral Park.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Is Kenton, that's fine. Is Kenton the nearest location?
Yes.
Okay, what would be,
Other-
other than that, is there one, what was the next closest?
So I mean, I think I'm trying to orient myself to geographically. So Kenton will be your closest. Northwest, but will probably be the next one that's open. North Portland will open this fall, and so then you'll have North Portland. So I think that's the order, depending on you're in Cathedral Park. Yeah, so probably for you, Kenton, then Northwest.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else on Zoom? We'll give you a second before we'll go back to one in the room. Nothing there. Okay, please go ahead.
Hi, my name's my name's Lindsay. I'm very nervous about talking into this microphone. I just want to reiterate basically everything that Becky said so that you hear this message from us. It's very disappointing that we're not using like one of our many empty storefronts to pop up a library for a year. I know that's money, but I don't understand why we're not doing that. And if that's really, really not an option, I think we do need from you guys like a good schedule for a bookmobile to come.
A regular schedule for a bookmobile.
Yes, yes, a regular schedule that we know ahead of time, that's not like willy-nilly shows up now and then. Like, let us know what we're gonna get and then deliver it.
What would be your preferred method of hearing about that, like the schedule?
All the ways.
Yeah.
What did you say, all the ways? Like through for example, like the library newsletter, our website, social media?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and like, it would be great if you guys could know before the library closes what you're gonna do, put it all over the library, because it sounds like everybody here goes to the library. We like going to the library, so like, let us know there.
Thank you for sharing that.
All right. Anybody else in the room or on Zoom with a question, comment, or concern? We've got Paul. I'll give Zoom one more second.
Zoom?
Paul?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm curious, so, at one point, we were told that the reason that we weren't going to have a bookmobile or intermittent branch or something was because of the low usership, the low number of users of the library in St. John's. And I said, okay, that's, the numbers are the numbers. So, I mean, and I know you have to make your calculations and you put your resources where the most people are using the libraries. I wonder, though, in projecting this, this massive renovation across the city, if you thought, if you projected usership into the future, like what will be the impact of closing a library for a year and a half on sort of the library habit that people have? Or if it's closed for a year and a half, do you have any projections? Well, yeah, people are just going to be going to YouTube instead or something else. I mean, have you thought about that? Or what is the social and library usage impact of closing a library for a year and a half?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal. It's a really big deal, and I definitely don't take that lightly. We don't take that lightly at all. I wasn't involved, it wasn't in my position when the bond was is formed and the framework was developed and the measure was put out to the voters, because I can't speak to what may have been considered in the past. I can speak though to where I am at right now and what I understand. And I absolutely know that there will be impacts in the community because of that lack of access to a library. I don't have specific calculations for you in terms of, to answer that directly, but I do hear your point that there's an impact in terms of that familiarity with the library, what it is in the community, what it provides in the community. And again, it's really why we're working hard to develop these strategic outreach strategies to be able to engage with people outside of the building. But I don't want to pretend that it doesn't replace a full library location.
Hi, my name is Trisha Lane. I'm a Cathedral Park mom. I've got 2 kids. One goes to Montessori House, which is right next door. And I've got 2 questions for you. One, we just painted the street yesterday in front of the library. It looks fantastic. Jessica coordinated that. So one, I wanted to know, is there any way that we can protect this new street painting that was just done from the construction, all the things? And also in terms of the noise, there's going to be 2-year-olds sleeping next door. It's okay if you don't know these questions because these are all construction. And then the one other question I had is, a lot of us drop off our voting ballots at the library. Do you happen to know where another place would be that we could drop off that would be in our community? And that's okay if you don't have to answer to that one too.
Those are 2 questions I'll have to take back because we've been talking with elections, throughout the bond.
I can answer the election one.
Nice.
There's the mail office, like the post office right by the Safeway. It's
Okay.
like 3 blocks away.
Can you drop it on the day of though?
Yeah, you can. You can drop it off at a post office.
The change, was it last, or last?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you all. Yeah. But I can also bring the question back to elections, just because I know we've been working with them throughout this period because we know of the impact on that, libraries as a collection facility for ballots. So, yeah.
One last thing on the post office though is that even the blue boxes close at 6 p.m. and elections close at 7. So you have to be aware that the last hour is 0.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I'll ask that question to see if there's any temporary ballot box going to be established in the St. John's neighborhood with the closure. And I will also take the question back about the street painting and how construction might impact that and whether there's anything that, if so, that can be done to protect that. I think I saw that. I don't know where, it was highlighted somewhere on social media.
KGW.
It was the KGW, yeah, very cool. Yeah. And we'll have, there's a, excuse me, I didn't bring my water. I will also understand, like, during the construction process, like if there's concerns or whatever, there's the contact info that you can reach out to regarding any kind of concerns like that.
Looks like there's still nothing on Zoom, so you can go
Okay.
ahead.
Hi, I'm Cynthia, and I just have a quick question. I do know that the Kenton Library is going to be closed sometime during the summer. Is there a crossover?
So we actually moved the Kenton schedule specifically to not have a significant overlap with St. John's closure. I need to get the dates. We pushed it out basically for Kenton to all the way to the end of the bond program. So I don't have the specific time period right now, but I think that there's not overlap, but I just want to look at the calendar offhand. So yeah, we made that change a few months ago because obviously we did not want to close both at the same time. So.
Still nothing on Zoom, so please.
I was just curious if there's any process for a community to override this decision, like if there was any consideration, if there was enough need or felt like it was impacting it at a certain level, that decision could be changed.
I mean, of course, as citizens, you can always share information or your input with the county leadership, with the chair, and or with the COO's office. So of course, that's always you're welcome to do that. I think one of the biggest challenges, to be honest, in opening a temporary facility is around the staffing. So it's the data, keeping the facility open day to day and dedicating staffing to maintaining that facility. It's a pretty big challenge. And like I shared, because we're opening 4 new libraries in this next year, we really are strained with our staffing. And I could get into the weeds of some of the considerations, but we just, I don't know if you may have noticed, we've had some operational disruptions in the last couple of months as a result of a change that was a result of bargaining with a local 88 union, where our represented staff can now opt out of serving as a person in charge in our library locations. And what that means is that we meet our minimum staffing thresholds more frequently now. And so we're working to address that. It's going to take a little time though, because we're needing to reallocate positions and adjust staffing. So I know that's a real detailed response, but it is a real consideration. And so that's one of our probably biggest hurdles in being able to keep a temporary facility open during the closure.
One of the things I'm concerned about is with the temporary shelters and the new shelter coming in, that there's a lot of people that need the internet to look for jobs. They, you know, like there's just a big increase potentially, and just a current need for that access.
I will say we have reached out to the Joint Office of Homelessness Services about possible partnership when the new day center opens up, to be able to provide on-site services like technology access and other things. It's just a conversation. I don't want to overpromise right now, but we've opened that conversation up to see what might be possible.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So there is one question in the chat. We have one in person, and then we'll have to close it out there. We're running out of time with other things to get to there. So Linda asks, should we anticipate parking issues at the Kenton Library?
Yeah, parking at Kenton is very limited. So there's street parking at Kenton, and there are a few spaces behind the library, but parking is a challenge. So yes, so again, street parking, and then or public transit to get there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hi, Alex. Quick question. How many libraries will be closed during the renovation across the city?
So it's a revolving
So
process.
during the time, well, at any one period of time, like while St. John's is closed, how many other libraries will be closed?
I'm going to do a little mental math for you, but so currently the Midland Library is Holgate will open in July. Midland Library will open in the fall, so those are currently closed but will open. North Portland will open in the fall, so it's and then Albina will be closed until until the spring of 2025. Hillsdale is currently closed, will open over the next month. Troutdale will close for 3 months. I can get you the full list, but so because what essentially is happening is we're renovating some libraries, and we're also doing what's called a refresh on libraries that are not expanding or being built new. And so the refresh closures are much shorter. They're about 3 months, depending on the location, but those are revolving throughout the process as well. I could get you the precise numbers, but that's what I have off. Yeah.
Okay. Do any of those closed facilities have temporary libraries open while they are closed, while their main library is closed?
So we've made some decisions to open some temporary facilities. The ones that we have made are, the Central Library had a pop-up that's already closed back down because Central's reopened. So we did do a temporary technology space in the downtown core area. We also opened a temporary facility at the University of Oregon campus. It's a very small little library that has some holds pickup and some materials there to serve the community during the Albina and North Portland closure. And we also have made a decision to open a temporary facility in the when the Belmont Library closes. That decision was made because the Belmont Library processes the second highest number of holds in our system, and it will just be a holds pickup facility, because if we don't open a holds pickup facility for Belmont, it will essentially back up all of our materials movement for the system because of the volume that Belmont processes in terms of holds. So we made that decision largely because of the system level impact that it would have not to open that facility. We did not open a temporary facility during the closure of Holgate or Midland libraries. And then, of course, with the refresh closures, we have not opened temporary facilities.
Okay, so there must be a process then to go through to determine whether a library gets a temporary location during a closure. So our appeal then is to the Multnomah County Board, if we wanted to appeal.
I think, the library director has the sort of decision-making around the temporary facility. Of course, I report to the chair and to the COO. So absolutely, you're welcome to reach out to those individuals to provide your input about that. Again, I think for us, the biggest challenge is around the staffing. And so being able to do that. But I did hear the comments this evening about what if it was like less, it wasn't a 7-day temporary facility, but what if there was some level of service provided? So I'm going to take that back.
Yeah, I just am curious because there are social needs here that you may not have in Belmont, for instance. They may have they may have like a book backlog, but that's a book issue. That's an inventory issue. And here there are societal issues that affect the whole city. So
yeah, I absolutely hear that. And that's why we're really increasing our outreach in the St. John's community to be able to provide some of that service to specific communities here.
Great.
And really limiting in terms of the service in that Belmont area is holds pickup. And so we're taking a different strategy by doing the mobile tech van and the mobile outreach van, as well as, like I said, exploring partnership opportunities with various housing sites and other facilities in St. John's to serve specific communities here. And I also hear your concerns. So I do hear you.
Well, thank you very much.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks, folks. And there's one final comment in the chat, and we'll have to close this out. Caroline shares, I really, really hope we get a temporary St. John's Library during our closure. Even just a Holds pickup location is fine. Even a day or two per week. I'm a retiree who uses St. John's location all the time. Mobile van, if working once a week, would also be fine. So there's, some kind of consistent, we've heard, yes, consistent service at certain clear times that can bring down the burden of having to go to Kenton or having to always be monitoring for maybe a library will pop up at one point. So with that, we're out of time. We're gonna have to move on in our agenda. Thank you, Annie, for coming and being here. We appreciate it. And folks, we've been in contact before. I'm sure Annie's not gonna disappear now. And so always feel free to bring thoughts, comments, concerns, bring it to us. And we can serve as a conduit with Annie and the Multnomah County Library to make sure that community concerns and feedback continue to be heard. So, yeah. All right. All right. On to our next part of the agenda. It's the familiar community organization updates. And so first we'll have the boosters with just a couple of minutes on what you got coming up.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, I am Tanya Hartnett. I'm the district manager of St. John's. Starting this Thursday, we brought back game night in the plaza. So that'll be every Thursday except for July 4th, from 6:30 to 8:30. And a different business is hosting the games. There's at least 20 board games there, and they'll be guided, and it'll be a lot of fun. So, we do it for the community. None of the businesses are making any money on it. And so we would love your support by coming out. It's a lot of fun. There's also, starting next Wednesday, there's going to be knitting in the plaza from 6 to 8 as well. So lots of fun stuff in the plaza. And then just to let you guys know, I finally got confirmation about the permanent lights in the plaza for, that will be put up. We applied for a grant from Prosper Portland. We received $50,000. We're applying for another grant to help pay for the rest of it. Construction will start in March and it will end in June for permanent lamp posts. That's it.
Great. Thank you, Tanya.
Congratulations, Tanya. That's amazing.
It's going to be good.
Great. Is there anybody from St. John's Center for Opportunity in the building or on Zoom who wants to provide an update? I don't see on Zoom. I don't see Nikki. Great. All right. We're going to move on then to Donna Donna, we got 2-3 minutes, all right?
Oh, okay. Well, let's see what we can do here then. All right. So, most of you know about the issue. Wait, so let me get rid of this thing. You know that the bridges over the cut are going to collapse. The railroad tunnel is going to collapse. The CEI hub might send toxic smoke our way. We've got to be able to get in and out of here after the earthquake. So we had an opportunity recently. The state legislature is going to take up a big transportation bill in the next session. You can all see the screen, right?
Yes.
RJ? Okay, good. All right. So they're doing a road show now. They're going around the state, listening to people about what they would like to see in the bill. And so we got organized and we had some representation. And what we're asking for is two things. We need, PBOT did a study of the Columbia bridges. They know what needs to be done, but in order to apply for a grant, they need match funds. So when you apply for federal grant, the local government has to pay part of that. We don't have that money. So we want to get the state to give us match money. And then the other thing is Lombard. That's more complicated because the sidewalks are owned by PBOT, the roadway is owned by ODOT, and the bridge is owned by the railroad. We need to get our state elected officials to get PBOT, ODOT, and BNSF talking. We need to get a feasibility study and, of course, ultimately funding to replace the bridge and the tunnel section. So this is all going to take quite a while, but at the committee hearing on Tuesday, we had 4 people signed up to speak. Unfortunately, they ran out of time before RJ got up there, but he was there. And we had 48 written testimonies, in other words, AKA your opinion, submitted to the committee. So that is really wonderful. And we did have some city council candidates who presented testimony and some who wrote testimony. So it's good to note that. If you want to stay up to date with this, we have a Facebook group, we have an email list. And the other thing I wanted to bring up related to this is I am, and if anybody wants to help on this project, please let me know. We're trying to form a coalition. So tonight I also spoke to Portsmouth Neighborhood Association, and they agreed, and University Park is going to be part of this. And basically what this will allow is when we need a bit of extra oomph to influence things. So if we want to talk to our elected officials, for example, if we have a letter, if we have a request from a coalition of organizations and, you know, in these neighborhoods, everything from University Park, Portsmouth, St. John's, Cathedral Park, Rivergate Industrial Area, Port of Portland, and we can put our names to something together, that would be great. Also, when something like an opportunity like a hearing is coming up, the different organizations in the coalition can, you know, rally their members to act. So I want to ask SJNA to officially be part of this. And I guess that's all. Are there questions about what's going on? I'm going to stop sharing here now.
So, Donna, is that essentially you bringing the motion for
Yes.
SJNA to join the to be named Emergency Route Coalition?
Yes, yes, right. So that we can work together. And nothing is ever going to happen that isn't agreed to by everybody in the coalition. So it's not like anybody's going to go off and sign your names to something. You know, that's not how it's going to work. It's just allows us to look stronger in certain ways. So
Okay.
yes.
Is there a second for this motion to join the coalition? That can be, we've got one in the room, we got one here, great. We can have a moment for any sort of questions or debate if you're for or against it at all, we can open it up. Otherwise, we can move to voting on it.
It's always good to be clear, what do we, is we be joining, so is it just using our name or something else? Could you be clearer?
Paul wants to know, like, just to have some clarity on exactly what we'd be joining. Would it be using our logo and our name for this? Would it be, what was just? We're joining a group of neighborhood associations and local like business organizations that will continue to advocate for bridge repair, rebuild, all that. Did those neighborhoods sign on? Paul's asking, the ones that you'd spoken with earlier.
Portsmouth did tonight. University Park, Tom assures me, is already on board. I'm going to Cathedral Park tomorrow night. I'm talking to the Business Association. Oh, St. John, James John PTA has signed on. So if anybody wants to help me, I mean, I could use some help reaching out to different groups. So it's a lot for one person to do.
Thanks, Donna. Is that everything, Paul?
I would move the coalition use our name and logo if we join them.
So this is, are you presenting a different motion than the one to join the coalition? Okay. Okay. Great. Well, what we're going to do, we're going to see if there's any opposition. If there's opposition, we'll take an official like roll call vote here. So if you're opposed to joining the coalition, either raise your hand in the room or on Zoom. If there is opposition, then we'll go to an official count. Otherwise, it'll pass unanimously. All right. There was a second. There was a, yeah. Great. So then the motion passes. The St. John's Neighborhood Association is officially a part of the coalition, Donna. And we look forward to continuing to hear from you and follow along and lend the support at the times when it is especially needed. So thanks, Donna.
Thank you very much.
All right. We have a slot here for Friends of Trees to join to speak for a few minutes about a program in St. John's. There's Thomas. I see Thomas on here. Thomas, you got a few, if you could do maybe 3 minutes, if that's possible, that would be great.
I'll do my best. All right. Well, can you all hear me all right? RJ, can you hear me? Great. Awesome. Thank you all for giving me a few minutes tonight. I appreciate it. I will share my screen really quickly and see if I can just run through this, and then I'll put my contact up for to be able to answer questions or respond afterward. Okay. Let's see. Okay, can you all see the screen? Yeah.
Yes.
Great. So I just wanted to talk very briefly about a program we've got available this winter, which are free street and yard trees for residents of North Portland, including in St. John's. And I'm encouraging folks to sign up now on our website to get on the list to receive these trees. You get to choose the species of tree within the realm of options from the city if they're street trees. They're all free. They're funded by a Department of Environmental Quality settlement. And this is the last year of it, so that it expires next spring. And so I'm trying to encourage as many people to sign up and get these trees as they can. I don't think we really have time to talk about why trees, but there's a lot of great things about trees that you probably already know, including providing shade, clean air, water quality, slowing down traffic, providing habitat. They're great. Friends of trees, there's a lot of advantages in planting with us, particularly that they're free this winter. They're planted for you or with you in these great volunteer events. They're really fun events if you haven't been to one before. You can choose which type of tree you like through our tree store. And we also help you through the process of applying for a street tree permit And so that kind of sometimes complicated process we can hopefully help you with and elucidate and make sure that you do it correctly. And we actually will do that permanent process for you. Couple of pictures of our events. They're very fun. Great opportunities to get to know your neighbors and do something outside in the community. Our event in St. John's will be December 7th, December 7th, 2024. So that's the date to keep in mind. A quick overview of our timeline. So now and through the rest of the summer, we're encouraging folks to sign up at friendsoftrees.org/getatree. Or if you just go to friendsoftrees.org, it's really obvious where to go. From there, it will prompt you to enter your address and create an account. When you create an account, it will tell you, sorry, the planting date's passed, but you're on our wait list. That's what you want. That's where you want to be. So just create an account and put your address, and then we'll follow up with you from there. If you already have an account, but you want a tree, you want another tree, feel free to email me, Thomas at friendsoftrees.org, and I'll put my contact in the chat after this, so you can find it there. And if you have any trouble, again, please reach out. I want to get as many people who need trees or want trees as possible to be able to order them. So then our tree store will open in September, and you'll get an automatic notification if you've inputted your address into our website, and then you can order your trees. The last day to order them is about 1st of November, and then December 7th will be our planting day in St. John's, Portsmouth, and University Park. We are also planting in adjacent neighborhoods in Kenton, East Columbia, Woodlawn, and a couple of others, but most of the city we don't plant in anymore. So we're really excited. I'm excited that we're still planting in St. John's, and I'm hopeful that as many of you that are interested can get trees and pass it along if you have friends and neighbors. If you want to get more involved and like share door hangers or other outreach materials with your neighbors to help them get trees, please reach out to me. I'm happy to drop off door hangers for you or work with you however you'd like to help with outreach. And my name and email and phone number are up here, and I will put them in the chat as well. I don't know if we have time for questions, but if we do, I'd be happy to take them. Thanks.
Thank you, Thomas. Yeah, we can do one or two questions here if there's anything. There's in the chat? Oh, yes. Some people who live in St. John's tried to look into free trees from Friends of Trees, but we're told the free program for St. John's is closed. And maybe that's what you were saying of when you sign up for an account, it says you missed your deadline. Is that maybe what?
Yeah, there can be some confusing messaging, but if you're in our system, if you sign up now, you will be on the wait list, and it's not closed, but this is the last year, 24-25 is the last season. So you'll need to order your trees before early November. But if you're getting a message that's confusing to you, please reach out. And yeah, there's no like restriction as long as you're in St. John's neighborhood or one of these adjacent neighborhoods in North Portland, you should be good to go and in the program. And if you've ordered trees before, you can order more, and they're free both for on the street and in your yards.
Thanks, Thomas. Anything else in the room? On the Zoom?
Is there any restrictions for where in your yard, front yard, backyard, everything?
So the question was if there's any restrictions on where in your yard, front yard, backyard, anything available, which I'm sure there's the difference between yard tree and street tree, which is the main limiting factor, right?
Yeah, so front yard, backyard, all fine. You can get it wherever on your property. If it's in the planting strips between like the sidewalk and the street, or if you have no sidewalk like right near the street, then it requires a permit from the city, but those are free and we'll help you get them. If you need to remove a tree, like a dead one before planting it, then that's a more complicated process, but I can still help you through that and let you know kind of what the process is.
Thank you. And we have one more question in the room, and then that'll be it on this one. Go ahead.
Can you help plant a tree that someone already has?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we really encourage folks to come out and volunteer, and I'll probably bop into another of your meetings to talk more about that option. But if you go to friendsoftrees.org/volunteer, you can get on our mailing list, and then you can help out. And we love to have more folks come out and volunteer at our planting events. And we have 2 coming up in North Portland this coming season, one December in St. John's and one in March in Kenton neighborhood and adjacent neighborhoods.
Was your question about helping at the Friends of Trees event, or is your question about helping someone who has a tree and if Friends of Trees would plant? So she has a tree that she needs help planting. Is that something that falls within the remit?
We don't help people plant the trees they already have, just because of our capacity. We kind of have a form that we use, and we source the trees and we help plant them, and that just helps ensure that we have like reliable stock from the nurseries and that kind of thing. I think that's an answer to your question, but if it's not, feel free to put it in the chat or follow up with me, and I'll try and answer it better.
Thanks, Thomas. We appreciate you coming out this evening.
Yeah, thanks so much.
You have a good one. All right. So now is the point in the agenda where the community organizations have given their update. Now it's for any member, either to share a concern, ask a question, you bring a motion. Anybody can bring a motion in front of the general membership, much like Donna did this evening to join the coalition. So we have about 10 minutes dedicated to this section. If anybody wants to bring anything forward, has anything to share, or any concerns or motions or anything like that. No? Yeah, come on down.
I just want to thank everyone who helped paint the mural in Charleston. We had such an outpouring of support and painting, and it was wonderful. So thank you to everyone.
Thanks so much. Wait, what was the turnout like? How did everything go?
I think it was like hundreds of people at some point coming and going,
Nice.
playing and painting, and it was just so lovely. Today I just felt like I was in a dream, like that happened. It was so
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds like there's hundreds of people there throughout the day. So thank you for organizing that, and everybody who joined in for joining. We have a question or a hand raise from Caroline.
Hi, I'll just give you a really quick update from Friends of Baltimore Woods that we are still holding our golden hour Thursday evening 1-hour work parties from 7 to 8 p.m. And we sometimes have to suspend in August if it's over 85, 90 degrees, but also the location is variable. So the best way to find out where we're working Thursday is check friendsofbaltimorewoods.org. So thank you.
Thanks, Caroline. friendsofbaltimorewoods.org. Janelle has a question in the chat, but I believe we're going to get to it in our board updates. It's about if there's any updates on the tasks, and so we can get to that in our board updates. Okay. Which there might be no updates for right now. But anything else, or we will move on to the budget and Bernadine. But anything else from anyone here? No. All right. So what we're going to do next, we're going to go to Bernadine, who, if you've been to a meeting before, you know she's the treasurer. The only reason we exist is because of Bernadine. So thank you. Normally she brings the treasurer's report. Tonight there is that, and there is the proposed budget for fiscal year 24-25. So we run July 1st to June 30th. And so we need to approve a budget for next fiscal year at this meeting. So Bernadine, you want to? Let's do both. Let's just do your full segment right now, if you don't mind switching. Thanks, Duncan. And I can bring yours up on the screen. Which one would you like to do first?
Okay. Okay, we're going to do the treasurer's report. This is covering from May 12th to June 9th, yesterday. Our beginning balance, this is for our general checking account, $6,786.90. Income was from the sale of the St. John's hats. That was $540 that came in. That was from the sale at the St. John's Bazaar. That's for 18 hats, and that's square sales, meaning they were via cards. We did have cash sales. That was all reported last month. And so our total income, $540. Now we have expenses. The square fee for taking the cards for the hats was $15.54. We had a reimbursement for printing to Patrick Thies. We paid our Oregon Secretary of State annual report and fee, that's $50. George Middle School, they finally processed the check for the Day of the Child. I won't say how long it took them, but it was 12 trips here. And stuff. So,
call me, I'll make it out.
and stuff. The principal, she was very apologetic for things.
I'm not in charge of it either, but I'll poke the right person regularly.
And stuff. So yes, it got done. Zoom, our fee for during this time is $15.99, and our MailChimp expenses for the month $38.25. Total expenses $188.73. That leaves us with a balance as of yesterday, $7,138.17. Of that, we have restricted $3,085.60. That is the Metro grant that we had received. That covers expenses that we have for the dumpster day, cleanups, those events. And then that leaves us restricted with $4,052.57. Any questions? Go on to the art fund. Our same date range, May 12th to June 9th. Beginning balance $100.04. No income, no expenses. This is a restricted account. So our balance yesterday was $100.04. On to our bottle drop account. Same date range. We started out with a balance of $453.70. We had many bags dropped, so we got $42.80. So we have a balance as of yesterday of $496.50. Any questions? Okay.
On to the budget. We're going to do a motion in a second. Yeah. Okay, so that is the treasurer's report. Up next, we need to consider the fiscal year 24-25 budget. First, there was the proposed budget was up on that table, the stapled copies up there. If you did or did not pick one up, if you would like one, there's copies up there. I'm going to share this into the chat so people can follow along and view there. And so what we need first is a motion to approve the budget, a second, and then we can open it up for consideration and debate. So the board has reviewed this budget, and voted to refer it to the general members. And so do we have a motion for the budget to approve the FY 24-25? Oh, yeah, we're going to share the screen. Do I have a motion to approve the FY 24-25 budget? Duncan motions. Great. Do we have a second? Yeah, we're going to go through and. Okay, well then, never mind. Go ahead.
Say it, okay. Okay, what the board agreed to propose to you, the members, this is for our fiscal year, which starts July 1st, 2024, goes through June 30th of 2025. Our beginning balance, $4,700. That's unrestricted. And we have then the restricted Metro grant account of $3,085.60. We're proposing for income, bottle drop, $450. Donations, $500. Fundraisers, $1,000. Community Activities Fund Grant, $700. This is a new line item from the city. I have filed all the paperwork for this grant and all of our receipts. It's covering expenses that we've had for Zoom, for getting out to the membership, for our emails, for anything that was printed to get information out to you and stuff. We are hoping that this is what we're going to get back from the city and stuff for that. Then expenses, administration, $430. That covers copying, printing, postage, and office supplies. Bank fees, $70. Cleanups, which is $1,500, which would come out of the restricted grant money. Facility rentals, $350. Fundraiser expenses, that's so that we can do a fundraiser, pay for whatever we have to start up for that, $500. Hospitality, $50. Oregon state fees are $70. Publicity, $300. Safer Together program, $400. Web services, $950, for a total of $4,620. Leaving us with an ending balance of $4,230 that's unrestricted and $1,585.60 that is restricted for the Metro grant. Any questions?
Do you use a bank and not a credit union?
Bank. We have US Bank.
Was it ever discussed using a credit union? Was that ever a topic of?
Not that I know of, at least as long as I've been a treasurer. No, that's never been talked about.
Yeah, and so a lot of what we do, like with this, it is, we've had this account and we've carried it over. Bernadine's been on the board the longest, I believe, and it's October of 2019. So since October of 2019, it's been US Bank. I don't know how long before it was that, but it's certainly something we can consider. It doesn't have to be that way. But that's, been the case since then. Mm. Mhm. Mhm, mhm. Yeah. For those on for those on Zoom, yeah, the conversations around moving from U.S. Bank to a credit union, and that the fees would be lower, would potentially higher interest yield on the account that we would have our funds in. I'm not. I'm not sure if that's like for the refer to the board to consider, or if yeah, so we can at our next board meeting and then come back. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So the board at its next meeting can bring that to the discussion and investigate, and then be able to come back and follow up on that.
Just as a
Yeah.
side note, George PTA uses IQ Credit Union.
IQ Credit Union. Great.
And so do I personally.
Thank you. Community Credit Union. Yeah, we got to watch out there. Patrick might take a flight to New York and just use the SJNA card on. No, I'm just kidding. Get a pastrami sandwich with it. Great. So at the next board meeting, we will take a look at that and come back. And Janelle does say IQ Credit Union did not charge anything for a nonprofit when she had an account there. Great. Any other questions or yeah, in regards to the general checking budget here? Do you mind coming up to the microphone just so the people on Zoom can? Thank you.
I just wanted to like have the web services explained a little more. So like that's just like a monthly fee, right, for like the website?
That's all encompassing of Zoom, which we have the ability to hold the meetings, and we also have a translated captions package so that it can be available in Spanish and other languages. That is our MailChimp account to send the newsletter and emails to our list. Any sort of fees related to our website, which, for example, right now our domain had historically been free, but it was then just transferred to a new company, which I'm sure we will start being charged for our domain and things like that. So it's like the bucket of our digital costs.
Okay, thank you, because that just seemed a little high for just like a website.
Yeah. This is email marketing, which we saw was $38.25, and we're also anticipating that going up. So we're leaving some room for every year they put that up a little bit. The Zoom, currently it's $16 a month, but then there's the translated captions, which we pay on an annual basis. So I totally hear you there, but yeah, it's that big sort of reservoir for all that stuff. And we're putting in a little bit of room in case MailChimp does go up, that we then don't have to necessarily come back and ask for approval to change the line item by $30 or whatever they raise it to, Currently, the website is free, yes.
And we do have nonprofit discounts on both MailChimp and
Yes, we get nonprofit discounts for everything.
it's not cheap.
Yeah, and that's why the city made the grant funds available for communications. And so, as you saw, we applied for the $700 in funding from them, and that was via receipts and hard costs. And so in the last year, it was a $700 cost. We're anticipating those costs to rise, and that's why you see this number that it is here. If we could assure that no costs would change, then yeah, this line item would be $750. But we're building in that anticipation of, because it's happened to us each of the last years that we've done this, the price has gone up. So we're just anticipating that happening again.
So then for the art fund account, the beginning balance is what we have at the moment, $100.04. We're not expecting any income. We're not expecting any expenses. So the ending balance is $100.04 and stuff. This might change, and if it does, then we will have to come back to the membership, especially if another grant that fits into the art fund would come about that we would get, then we would have to come back to the membership. Same way with expenses, if anything were to come back. Okay, then the bottle drop account. Great question. And stuff. We received a grant, the neighborhood association received before I ever became the treasurer, a grant. And it was for artwork and projects that the community was gonna do. And you see it on the side of Grocery Outlet, that mural and stuff. And it covered for the artist and everything else. It also covered the last expenditure that was done on this, covered for some repair work to be done on that and stuff. And so that's what this money is left from. This is what we have. And it was a restricted grant that came in strictly for this, and this is what we have left. So if something else comes up that would fit into this parameters, it would be an art project or something, then we would deal with that. But at this point, nothing has come forward, and there hasn't been another grant for a few years, so that's where it's from.
There,
I was gonna say I've been brainstorming uses for that, so if anyone has ideas.
yes, Jesse is working on uses for the art fund. And so if you're on Zoom and have an idea, drop it into the chat. You can get in touch with Jesse if you're in the room, chat with him after.
Okay, so now our bottle drop account. If our beginning balance is $50, then we're hoping to have $450 worth of bags dropped. We're hoping to get $25 in donations, and we do get donations like we did at the bazaar. We had the collecting cans and bottles, and we got 9, so we got 90 cents donated. But we've also had some people donate from their own personal green bag account, which you can do. We are listed as one of the authorized nonprofits that can get money that way, and we have had that happen. So we're hoping for $25 that way. Total income $475. Expenses, we're spending up to $40 a year, so that's what we're going with when we buy bags. They come in a box, $2 per roll of 10. And then we would be transferring out of the bottle drop account to our general checking account, $450. So that's a total expenses of $490. And that leaves us with an ending balance of $35. Any questions? I don't know if there's anything up online.
I don't see anything on Zoom there, and that's it, right, Bernadine? So basically, overall, what this shows is we will operate at a very slight loss in unrestricted funds at the year if we spend to complete line item capacity. As referenced before, something like web services, we've built in an anticipated cost increase. That could be lower than we've planned for, or anticipated, or we can end up not needing that roll of stamps that is currently in the budget. So this is not this is not a, we're going to spend exactly this amount of money. This is what we're budgeting for throughout the year. And we will not go over these line items in great amount. And we will, if we need to, we will come to the membership for said approval. So we can motion, second, and enter into debate around this budget. So do we have a motion to approve this 24-25 budget? Motion to approve, thank you so very much. And then the second? Duncan seconds, okay. And now is there, we can have any comments, issues, further questions about the budget. If you want to propose a change to it, we can do so at the microphone in the room or on Zoom, raise your hand. Otherwise, we can move on to a vote on it. Nothing in the chat? All right. They trust you're not going to get that pastrami sandwich. Great. So then, seeing as there's, if there was a lot of comment or question or feedback, I would go to a vote, but I'm going to go with the, we're going to try to go with unanimous consent here. So if anybody is opposed to approving this budget as is, please raise your hand, either Zoom in the room, and if so, we will go to a roll call vote, but otherwise it'll pass unanimously. Anything on the Zoom? Well, all right. The budget passes unanimously. This will be our fiscal year 24-25 budget. Thanks very much, folks. We appreciate it. We are well over time. There's supposed to be time for board updates, but I'm gonna, instead of going one by one, I'm basically gonna ask, is there a critical update someone on the board needs to provide to the general members? Yes. I yield my time. Perrin, would you mind? Thank you so much. So this is Paul's secretary update as brought to you by Perrin.
Hi, everyone. I just want to give a really quick update about the block parties. If anyone has any interest in signing up for a block party, we have the equipment from last year, which includes a sound system, a bouncy house, a movie screen, I think a little bit of cutlery left, and it would be really cool to have more block parties. I think we have like 10 people signed up. And if you have any doubts or questions about how to throw it, we have a manual, so you can read through that, and Paul and I are also available to hop on the phone or meet for coffee or something if you want some help. So just let us know. That's it.
Thank you, Perrin. And thank you, folks, for organizing that. You may have heard it before. I'll reiterate it again. Last year, there was 31 block parties in the neighborhood. After Paul wrote, received, organized, and executed a grant through the Portland Bureau of Emergency Management. So it's a really, really wonderful time, and I hosted one myself. I'm hosting it again. I hope you all host your own. It's a really, really great time and experience. So I'm putting that link in the chat. Barbara, I see your hand raised on Zoom.
Yes.
Did you have
Yes.
a question?
Actually, I had an announcement can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I had an announcement. I'm sorry I missed the earlier announcements by different groups. There's actually, this is something we just heard about yesterday. The Cathedral Park new dock grand opening party is going to be on Saturday, June 29th, 2 to 8 p.m. down at Cathedral Park. And I just wanted to make sure and extend it. We welcome St. John's Neighborhood Association members and extend an invite to join people down there. This new dock process has been led by Willie Levinson of the Human Access Project. And so the party, once again, is from 2 to 8 p.m. Saturday, the 29th of this month. There will be music, live music there by, there'll be live music, community booths, ribbon cutting by Parks Director Adina Long, free swimming lessons from the Black Swimming Initiative, free kayak rentals from the Mosquito Fleet, and also a food truck, and art by Ivan McLean of Portland Winter Light Fest. So I just wanted to make sure we extended that invite to you all. It sounds really exciting, and we didn't expect it to happen quite this fast, but really glad it did.
Thanks so much, Barbara. All
Yeah.
right, everybody. Yeah, June 29th, 2 to 8 p.m. down at the new dock in
Yes, as
Cathedral
soon as we
Park.
can get you a poster, we'll send you one.
Wonderful, great, and we'll share that out.
Great.
And additionally, we did have one other. It's actually technically in Cathedral Park, so we'll share it here. And I believe we forwarded it over to Lena on the Cathedral Park board. They are conducting some filming around the St. John's Bridge. They emailed this yesterday evening for a filming happening this week. So we've got, we have the information. It's a lot of streets listed here, but the area of like Edison, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Willamette Boulevard, sort of all in that area from Wednesday to Friday of this week, and then there's going to be no street parking, and then Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday of next week, no street parking on some of these areas. There's way too many to read out here. There's
Okay,
like
good.
12
good to
different
know.
streets, but
Yeah, good to know. Thank you so much. I think Lena did pass that on to us,
Great.
but there was not a lot of information about the specific streets, but this is good information. I will pass it on.
Okay, and if you don't mind, if you want, drop your email in the chat, and I'll forward it to you as well, so that
Okay.
you have it. Because, yeah, they
Okay.
emailed us at 5:30 yesterday and said, "Oh, make sure you let the affected people know." And I was like, "Great, I'll get right on it."
Okay.
All right,
Thank
so
you.
we'll see what they're filming down there. I don't know. If somebody knows or finds out, let us know. Any other critical or urgent updates at this time from the
Was there
board?
something in the chat that you said you'd come back to during the board updates?
Oh, it was the test. Yeah. Are there?
I mean, I can give a brief. Yeah. I'll keep it brief because we're running late. Yeah. So no major updates on that. I did see the next steps. So for those that were there was the DEQ hearing that was to look at some of the soil remediation. So it sounds like mid-May, the soil vapor sampling results were expected to be received. So I haven't heard anything yet on that, but if there was a problem, then essentially it would have kind of gone through a further kind of remedial action plan to kind of further investigate. But it's kind of one of those things where I'm hoping no news means it didn't have any surprises, but I do have an email out to Hank to get further information on that specifically, and then also on some of the Good Neighbor Agreement steps and when that is going to be happening. But he is still targeting on his latest note, and I saw on the website is saying similarly is looking to potentially have this site open late summer, I'm using quotes, 2024. So yeah, we'll keep you posted, but I really don't have any further updates.
And Barbara, is that a legacy hand up, or is one more
Oh,
thing?
sorry about that. Yes, it's a
No,
legacy hand.
no worries.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. Well, with that, and being it's 8:49 p.m., I'll go ahead and close the June meeting of the St. John's Neighborhood Association. Thanks everybody for coming out, for being at George Middle School, and for joining on Zoom, and enjoy the sun. We'll see you in July. Thank you.